So last but not least, we will have Gloria, and their topic is cross-cultural learning strategies for enhancing listening and speaking skills. Let's welcome her.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Gloria, and today my topic is cross-cultural learning strategies for enhancing speaking and listening skills. And before introducing my presentation today, I'd like to introduce myself and the school. I'm a teacher in Ligang Elementary School in屏东County, southern Taiwan. Compared to the other school in rural area, my school is quite big because there are 350 students and 17 classes in total. Our students start learning English from grade 3. I think most of the classes are the same, right? And then we have 2 periods of class a week and then 40 minutes a period. And there's only one English teacher, that's me, Miss Chen. They call me Miss Chen. Okay. This is my school. Okay. Okay, today I'm going to present, the presentation is, you can see the outline here. I'm going to introduce my teacher inquiry project and then also cloud project and the teaching strategies and apps that I have learned from W and I have applied in class. So first of all, let me introduce my teacher inquiry project. Early this project, actually we are required to make this project, but I was thinking that what kind of problem I have for my class. I think the situation in my class is students' oral production was quite limited. I actually speak, mostly I speak English in class, but they always answer me, yeah, still in English, but it sounds like very textbook, like whenever I ask them, how are you? They're always, I'm fine, thank you. As you can see from Jennifer's videos this morning, she greeted them, how are you? And, I'm fine, thank you. And you? That's right. In grammar, that's right. But sometimes they're not happy that they still have to say, I'm fine, thank you, because they think that is correct way to say that. So why this concerns me? Because I'm the only English teacher in my class. So I was thinking, what can I bring them? What else can my students learn from me? So my intervention was, if I created a more meaningful speaking environment, what might happen to my students? So I was going to collect some data and analysis from this project. So I did video recording, teacher's observation, and questionnaire. Okay, and but this still concerns me that we only have 2 periods of class a week, but we have to do listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Time is always a challenge, right? So if I focus more listening and speaking activities in my class, then I don't have time to do the writing. I mean, not much time. So, but I still wanted to do that. So the results that told me that from videos, students seem to be more active and confident in speaking English from the beginning until recently. And from my observation, teacher's observation, students' oral ability have been improved because I noticed that they can speak longer sentences than before. And they get to practice what my worry, my concern here, time management. Like in writing, I'm worried like they don't have much time for writing, but they get to practice writing. Even we mainly focus on speaking activities in our cloud lessons, which is the KWLQ. Jennifer just mentioned this morning. They have to do some writing discussion, so they still have, the chance to practice. And also, from the questionnaires that I show you, almost 90% of the students show very much interested in the cloud project. And 80% of the students believe that their English speaking abilities have been improved. And 80% of the students express that they won't be so hesitated or shy to speak English to foreigners in the future. I think they gain their confidence in speaking and using English. So why did I put Teachers Inquiry project in the first? Because I want to show you what I did during this time. So everyone knows that my co-partner is Jennifer Monger from WWU, and my participants, my students are 21 fifth graders. Before this summer, they were 4th graders, but after summer, they were separated into different classes. So now they're like in 3 different classes, and we did the video conference twice a month. And I like to divide all my cloud project into 3 stages. The first stage is hello and my family. That was before we went to the United States. And the second stage is after. Oops, goes too fast, right? Hello. Okay, there. Okay, second stage is the time that I came back from the United States. We have 4 topics, and then stage 3 was just happened recently. Okay, after we have done so many topics, then 2 days of Jennifer's visit, and we still have 1 more topic left. Okay, I'd like to talk more about stage 1. At that time, students, they were so nervous to meet Miss Jennifer. So Jennifer and I, we kind of have a discussion, and we decided to have like very basic, hello, nice to meet you. So because Jennifer is so good at music, so she modified the music. Hello, what's your name, right? Yeah, and then we arranged some in-class activities, kind of like icebreaker activity, and then sing song. And before I went to the United States, the last class, before summer vacation, the students kind of like, Miss Chen, can we sing the song? You know, we kind of practice our ukulele with the tune that Miss Jennifer showed us. I was like, why not? Yeah, of course. And then we can do it in our last lesson. And then that's what you saw this morning. And they did it spontaneously. So I was so surprised too. Right, okay, and then, all right, stage 2, hometown food and games. Our goal is from teacher-centered teaching to student-centered learning. We focus more on sharing cultures and lives from more interesting topics. For example, hometown. And here, okay, Jennifer introduced her hometown in a chorus. And in return, the second class, we decided to introduce Li Gang to Miss Jennifer, you know, when she visited, because they all know that Miss Jennifer is coming to visit them. So in that case, we can show Miss Jennifer around. That's what I told them. So we introduced Li Gang to Miss Jennifer. And then here is food. The topic is food. So Jennifer introduced what students have at school in cafeteria, and then in return, we introduce what we have at school. That is interesting for Jennifer to know, right? And the lesson here, we kind of exchange information how the students play games in class at school. In Taiwan, many students like to play 黑白菜，男生女生配 or 海带呀海什么海带呀海带，有没有那种游戏的 the games they play? We introduced that to Miss Jennifer in English version, and that was a challenge for me because I have to translate it. Okay, but it was fun to play the game with them. And in this stage, we start using digital tools, Flipgrid, because we think that they were not so hesitated to show them themselves, but they need some practice. So I started to divide the students into several teams, and I think Jennifer already introduced that Flipgrid quite a lot, so I'll just skip this part, okay? And we also, after each lesson, each topic, we use the Venn diagram to think about what we have learned from the class. I'm going to talk about it later. Okay, and this is stage 3, Jennifer's visit, that happened just 2 days ago. You can see it looks like a whole week schedule. I kept her very, very busy. And I will talk about this later. Okay. So the teaching strategies that I have learned from the Western and then I apply it in my class is, in class I have used concept source, gallery walk, Victorian input, and the consideration song chart. I like to show everyone that the English song competition that my English class, they attended, they won the first prize. And that's because during this summer, Jennifer had a workshop on music and language, and she introduced us with a chart, and that is a good way for us to choose suitable song for the students. Okay, sometimes we teach them pop songs, but you know the lyrics are not so nice, not so suitable for the students. But with that chart, I think I can easily find a good one and suitable one for my students. And here is, so I'll just show you a little bit. Well, we attended the singing contest, and this song was introduced by Jennifer. So because we have ukulele club at school, so the students just play the song, and also we boil the drinks and put rice into the bottle, empty bottle, and make it a shawty. Okay. We won the first prize. So when Jennifer visits, oh thank you. When Jennifer visits, she felt so connected because this is the song that I introduced you. You know, right? That is the song. Yay. Okay, and then so I would like to talk about more on teaching strategies in the cloud project. KWLQ, which Jennifer already mentioned earlier, and the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram here, I think is a great way of reviewing what students have learned. It offers students a chance to do critical thinking after learning, because what she just mentioned this morning, they always forget what they are learning English because they seem to be so interested in learning about the culture and comparing, and they try to finish their job, so they forgot that they are learning. Okay, but what is Venn diagram? This at first we did not actually ask them to fill it in the chart, so we just asked the students to draw a picture after the lesson. What do you think the difference between, for example, this hometown? So. One of the students drew American library in Anacortes. She says, this looks like 7-Eleven. I said, why? She said, it looks so stylish. Oh, yeah. And how about Taiwan? How about Ligang? And she said, oh, it's like a palace. Okay, wow. So that's the difference, right? Okay, and then one of the students said that the difference is the time, which is right? Okay, and one of the students also mentioned that You know, in Taiwan, the road and street are so curvy, but in Anacortes, it's so straight and easy to recognize. Street 1, Street 2, and Street A, B, C, D. It's so easy to find a way home. But in Taiwan, there are so many, the streets are very curvy. So I'll continue. And this is Venn diagram on food. So after we practice drawing, this time we start comparing with the Venn diagram. We fill in this information. For example, students mention about, I think Americans like to eat uncooked vegetables. And we have to cook the vegetables. And also they said, Americans love ketchup. But in Taiwan, we love soy sauce. Right. Okay, and then teaching apps that apply in class is here. This is called app puzzle. Someone has already introduced that, so you might be very familiar with. And also, Flipgrid, Jennifer will lead you to some discussion after my presentation and Sophia's presentation. And my experience in the cloud project, I was benefit a lot. I even learned much more than my students. So. And also, for the students, I think it requires a lot of practice, patience, before the student, they are willing to speak, okay? Because they listen a lot, they learn a lot, but before they start speaking, we need to give them some time. And most of all, this cloud project has increased students' motivation and curiosity in learning English. So let's go back to stage 3, Jennifer's visit. You can see that this is the day she arrived. The next day, morning, we have 4 periods of class. A welcoming, nice to meet you, happy farm in Ligang, and a sports day. There's only 4 morning schedule. And afternoon, we have night market, food, games, and go shopping in the night market. But I would like to let you know that it's not only for Jennifer to teach. We share, because I get the students to prepare something in Taiwan, to share first, and then Jennifer shares something in return. So it's like 50-50, but it's still a lot for Jennifer, I know. And here, on the next day, in the morning, we have school dance, 大会舞. So we asked Jennifer to dance with us. And then we have music, and then art, and then who's your favorite artist? And afternoon we have a farewell party for Jennifer. So I'd like to show this, because there's so many to talk, so I would like to make it a video that is faster. Welcome. So some of the students gather in the hallway to sing a song. These are with 6 classes. And the first class is nice to meet you. They're all different classes. So we also introduce our farm in our school campus. And Jennifer introduced the garden in America, and this is field day. This is Jennifer. She was trying to help the girls. And we also show her our pole climbing. This is that class, 4th A. And this is my market introduction. So we actually, that night, we show her what our night market is. So you can see we try the grilled corn and the pinball, right? And shooting the balloon. She was good, and everyone cheered. Oh! And this is the topic about food. This class introduced our Taiwanese food in Ligang to Miss Jennifer, and Jennifer introduced students' school lunch for this class. Yeah. And then we play 4 squares. They love it. And even the school director is here. He said, I want to play. Can I? Please come on in. Okay, this is the school dance. You see? Well, at least you're better than school principal. And then violin class. Yeah, she teaches violin. Yeah, and she observes violin class. Here is one of the classes. Look at the smiles. And we try calligraphy. Good, right? Much better than some of the students. And here, who's your favorite artist? So our students introduced Miro, and Jennifer introduced a local artist in Anacortes. And in the afternoon, our farewell party, we introduced her Chinese New Year, 12 animals, and Jennifer introduced Christmas, and then we played jingle bells with our students. School principal, and then one of the students said, "Can I have a hug?" Yeah. Hope to see you again. And then we have a little time for our cloud project students. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your 2 days. Jennifer was so good at violin. She's so professional. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. So you have...
We'll miss you, Jennifer. Yeah. And can I say one more word? I'd like to thank you, NTNU, for arranging this opportunity. So the teachers who came to our presentation today, if you are interested, even just a little bit, you can come to us, ask for more details, because it's all worth it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we also will have a Q&A section after the break time. All right. So I'm so jealous. You have violins. You have that class.
Yeah, we have violin class.
So good. All right. So last, we will have Sophia. She's also one of the partners with Jennifer, and so let's welcome her.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So nice to have you still here. I'm Sophia from Jinsan Elementary School, and I, Jennifer, and Gloria, we are in the same team. So our topic, basically, Gloria already introduced. And first, right? Okay. First, I'd like to introduce our school. That's our school, very tiny school. There are only 49 students currently in our school, and there is only one teacher, that's me, one English teacher, that's me in the school. And this time, the students join this project. They are third grader and the fourth grader. They are total 11 students. There is a famous mud volcano near our school and the Jiguan mountain. Okay, they are waving hello to all of you. Okay, that's our school. outline for today's presentation basically consists of 4 parts. First, the cloud lessons, and the secondly, is my teacher inquiry. And the third part, the app I'm using and the strategy. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, first about the cloud lessons. And I think to make the cloud lesson more effective, I think there are some key factors. That's my experience. First, the KWLQ chart, which Jennifer already mentioned this morning. And then secondly, the app Flipgrid for further interaction. And the third, the vinyl diagrams that my partner Gloria already mentioned. And I think the last one is the most important one is mutual discussion and modification. I think that sometimes, for example, Gloria's cloud students are 5th graders who has a higher English level, while my students are only third and 4th grade. They can only listen, but sometimes when it comes to produce something or some productive output, they have their limitation. So I think the fourth one is the most important part. That's what I mean. The KWL chart will help in lesson planning and to target what's the teaching and the learning objective. And one thing I needed to mention, I remember there was one time Jennifer introduced about American games. When I asked the student to fill in the KWL chart, some of the students raised 2 questions for this one. One student said that, does it need to be the tail, put the tail, pin the tail onto the donkey, not pin the hand, pin the feet, pin some parts of the animals? And then the other student is more interested. He said, can we pin the tail on other animals? So based upon students' feedback, we revised our lesson plan, or you can say we designed our lesson plan. So it becomes, when actual cloud meeting, we have pinned the tail on the lion, pinned the tail on the elephant, etc., etc. Okay, so I think KWL chart is quite helpful. And for the vinyl, back then diagrams, I didn't notice that it is so useful. But when I was designing the Taiwanese game, and when I was doing the comparison, I find there are so many things similar between Taiwanese games, American games, and the Taiwanese game. Like for 7 say equals teacher says, or hopscotch, we also have in Taiwan, or London Bridge, we have our different version like 城门起丈高，36把刀. Basically the same game but different version. So, and talking about modification and discussion, I remember one time, there's only one time, I felt sleepless after I got Jennifer's lesson plan. I saw the word, which was, I still remember, tater tots, wow, Mandarin, which is orange, and peanut butter jelly, and sandwich. Wow, I think that's such a long word. I don't think my 3rd graders or 4th grader can do it. But I think I needed to give my student a chance. Why not? So I also teach my student, those group of students, arts class. So I think why not just make an afternoon tea with the basically celery sticks, a sandwich, peanut butter, jelly, and mandarin, and all the fruits. And after these classes, this kind of preparation class, and when they are having Jennifer's class, they can say very precisely, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, tater tots, celery sticks, especially celery sticks. They haven't tried before. When I really show them, I chopped the celery and into sticks and make some minutes. I don't know how to say minutes. And they are kind of hesitant to taste it. But after a while, a lot of students ask for more. I think it's kind of cultural change and also language harvest. Okay. So, in the class, the same class, Jennifer provided us the American lunch set up on a plate, and we actually make a fresh card to get the student to order American lunch. So it was fun. Okay, so let's read how the cloud lesson going on. That's Jennifer's class. As you can see, all the streets are straight. And that's our street. All the streets are curved because we are in the mountains, so basically it's a curve. And food. American lunch and Taiwan hot pot. We do some kind of comparison. Instead, on top of language learning, we also wanted to give Jennifer something in feedback, something in return. We wanted let Jennifer to know our culture, about hot pot culture. So, okay, basically it's it. Okay, it's the first part. I think the first part is the most important part, and we learned a lot. Our students learned a lot too. And then the second one, my teacher inquiry. The situation is normally when I am telling a story, because now the 3C YouTube is so accessible. So sometimes I just pick up some book from YouTube. But sometimes I watch the students. I think they are only listening. They don't have a chance to speak. And neither do I to teach them how to speak, tell a story. But when I went to the United States, I took MATE, tableau class, drama class. I think there is another way to tell a story. So I decided to model myself to be a more dynamic storyteller. So that's why I chose this topic. Okay, so I think Solomon was only one video. The video can explain more. So I will let you watch the video. The first video will show you the process I'm doing, how to model myself as a dynamic storyteller. For this video, I used the stupidities to make it. So I try to keep my promise to be a dynamic storyteller. So now let's look at what the students said. I did keep some notes and I do the observation, and finally I interview the students. Okay, I will stop here. The reason I was interviewing her is one day we are doing RT, doing storytelling, this kind of RT, and we only do RT from Unit 3, and now we do the Unit 4. And this class, they are only actually there are only 3 students in this class, and Olivia is quite she likes English very much and likes reading a lot. And she told me that, teacher, can we do Unit 1 and Unit 2 as well? I said, why not? I said, why do you want to do that? And she said, teacher, I think it's kind of interesting to do the dramas or do the RT. So I think basically for this class, they do like to read the story. Okay, so. Okay, here, the next one, I think I'm almost finished. The next one is my strategy. Because in Kaohsiung there are some RT competition. So in my class, I also employ RT approach. And I'd like to skip to my students' response. I interview my students, say, how do they feel to employ the RT in their class? Some of the students, Ian say, because there's more relaxing. He doesn't need to read whole book. He only read the part he is good at. And also Sam and John, they say, doing RT will make the lesson smoother because if you are able to read a difficult part, you read a difficult part. If some of the students are low achiever, they can read the easy part. That's what they say. Okay, so basically, I think the most impressive one is the third one. RT help the low achieve students build confidence. That's it. Okay, so here, let's look at a 5th grader.
Wow, what are these? They are fires. Do you like fires? Yes, I do. What are these? They're bananas. What are those? They're oranges. Do you like oranges? No, I don't. Look, apples. Great, I like apples.
I'd like to mention, for these students, I think probably Jennifer will know, he seldom participated in the cloud lesson. He always watched and he didn't participate. But for RT, because he only took the small part, so he is willing to do so. And let's skip to the 5th grader.
Are you okay? I'm fine. What is what? Who's he? He is called my name. Wow.
Okay. The one who says who's he? Sam. The one, the boy. He doesn't have English at all. He doesn't hang in the homework. He doesn't do my art piece of work. He doesn't do anything. But after Polly and Lily guided him to read the RT part, he's really willing to participate. For this student, I'm quite impressed. So that's basically RT works in my class and in our school. Okay, this one. And now, like Gloria, I also joined the RT competition. And for this year, because I joined the seminar. Also, one thing is very important that our partner Jennifer do the proofreading for our script. And our script, I also put some local elements like guavas, like ginseng. So we won the second prize. Okay, so maybe you can look at it. Remember. See this ginseng, this white, the white.
You doesn't matter, and I think you are
special. Okay, thanks for Jennifer for proofreading this script. That's why we won the second prize. Okay, so basically that's my presentation. I almost covered the part I want to present. For the rest of the questions, I'll just come to us and we like to answer your question. Thank you for all of you.
Thank you, Sophia. And I do feel that reader theater is useful and popular in junior high school too. Yeah, and so, yeah, because reader theater is not a real play, right? Just use your intonation and your sound to describe the emotion, and you don't have to remember all the words. You can see and focus on reading fluency. Yeah, so I think it's a very good way. And so we will have Jennifer again to share her experience. Let's welcome her.
Hello again. Well, first I'm going to just give you a brief review of Flipgrid, very brief. We're almost to the end of our conference. And I just have to say that everyone here has just been so enthusiastic about sharing what they've learned through this wonderful project. And I think we could probably spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks with this conference. We have just so much to share with you. But I think that speaks to our enthusiasm for all that we accomplished during this project. So earlier in my presentation and also in Gloria and Sophia's presentation, they mentioned that the digital tool we focused on using was Flipgrid. And if you remember back to this morning, Flipgrid is basically just a simple tool, a digital tool, that can be found online. And what we found was the most productive part of it was that it enabled students to have a place, a virtual place, where they could have a voice. It boosted their community, their culture, and it let them have a place for an online classroom that they could access outside of the lesson times. So I would like to do something a little bit different. I'd like to invite Gloria and Sophia up with me. And I think it's important for them to be up with me because we did work very closely as a team. And are these microphones okay to use? Okay. And so I would just like to ask them a few questions about their experiences with using Flipgrid because they are the ones who really experienced being able to see the students' reactions and responses to using the application. And so I think it's better if we ask them a few questions about their personal experience with it. Okay. So we can come a little bit closer. Yeah. Oh, we know it. So my first question is, how did the students respond to using Flipgrid?
Of course, they were so nervous. They was not good at using the shooting video. When they are in front of a camera, they are so nervous. And I say, you can try again. I can wait for you.
Yeah, they are nervous. They were nervous. So I decided to divide them into groups. So that way they can feel supported. So what if I cannot do it? My friends can help me. So that's the way I divide them into separate groups. And then I work with them with the lines. And then we practice, then we shoot, and then NG, and then again, and NG, and again. So we practice a lot of time, but they did not complain. They did not complain. They just wanted to make it done.
Right, so since it wasn't a live video, it gave them an opportunity to practice, so that way they weren't as nervous about speaking English live right away. So it gave them an opportunity to practice over and over and over again until they were satisfied. And of course, it didn't have to be perfect. It was just a way for them to communicate with a foreigner, to communicate with me.
They learned in the process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so my next question for Gloria and Sophia is, what has been the benefit of using Flipgrid to teach English?
So for me, it's a kind of peer learning. If one person cannot do it, then we will invite the whole group. Then the whole group will assign the work they needed to do. When it comes to student great. So I think it's kind of peer learning. And it's secondly, it's kind of follow interaction with you because we only have a limited time of Zoom session, so they have more activity which they want to show you. So that's kind of follow up.
Yeah, and I think Sophia, you had also mentioned that it was good for your students to be able to listen to Gloria's students' presentations.
Yeah, sure.
So I think an important part of using these applications is to remember that listening is just as important because remember that's the first step of learning a language is developing those listening skills.
Yeah. As for my students, of course, for them is the first one is motivation. So get them to talk, and after practicing for so many times, I think they gain confidence, and also because they have confidence, so they will speak more fluently. And then after that, the parents get involved. Why? Because they can do it at home. For example, there's a topic about food, dinner. So the student, Jennifer asked them a question, what do you usually eat for dinner? So the students cook at home. They prepare food and cook at home, and the parents held the camera, or sometimes as the parents cook and the student use a cell phone to shoot the film and then explain. So it's more like get the parents involved.
Right, and I heard that some of the parents were very excited to know that their students actually wanted to practice piano, because it gave, they recorded themselves practicing piano on the music share space that I had set up to show me their talents. So I heard the story of how they were very happy about that as well. So did you do your homework on your KWLQ chart? So at this time, I think it would be more beneficial if we could set up some stations around the room, because I think for me, asking questions in front of a big audience can be a little bit nerve-wracking. So this will give you an opportunity to ask questions more one-on-one and in the language that you're most comfortable with. So if the Cloud partner groups could find a place around the room to stand, the attendees, I would like to invite the attendees to come around and ask us questions one-on-one. And before we do that, I just again want to thank everyone for attending, and for Professor Chern and Professor Lowe for having us here today and hosting us, and of course Kevin for all of his hard work as well. So at this time, Cloud Partners, please find a place in the room and we can answer some of your questions. Thank you so much.
So can Cloud Partners stand up, please? And we can stand in the corner of this room. Yeah. Yes, so here. Some over there.
We have 5 groups, 5 minutes, right?
Should we invite you to come to us and ask us questions?
You may ask a question in Chinese or in English. Either way will do. We are willing to answer any question you may have for our cloud lessons or for our program.
We're not scared. Maybe you can go there. Do you have any questions, sir? No questions for us? Hello, how did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? Good. Have you heard of the apps? The apps? Yeah, they're new. Learning the apps like Plickers. Erica's really good at Plickers. And it doesn't take too long, just a little bit of time with the technology. So, do you have any questions you want to ask? No questions? No. Thank you. Yeah, you know, so many people did so many interesting projects.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Are you teaching in If you have a kind of interest, you will find the section that show you can you will find it. From 1 to 60, even to 80.
Oh, really? Wow.
You have small class. effective in using because you only need 5 to 10 minutes. So I always ask myself to give them the sheets before class. So when I get into the class, that's when I found that everyone has this sheet already there.
And you laminated them too.
Yes.
Erica. So it's perfect. So perfect.
You do it any question, but it's kind of complicated because you have to put them into the same group. And you can name them. You can name the numbers. For example, number 1 is Helen. Type in their names and make them into the same class. Do many jobs first. The sheet is the same. You can win the same ones, but each class you have to put them into the and before the class you have to put the group into the question you want to ask. Yeah. You can do that.
Give it a little time before you first class. Does anybody have any questions for us? No questions? Everybody's like, no, we're done. We'll just ask one more question.
You smile at us.
Anyone have any questions for us? Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Is your school in Thailand or? Yeah. Are you in Thailand? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you have a chance to get
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so everybody, thank you for your enjoy the snacks. There's some fruits over there. And after 10 minutes, we will start the Q&A session.